10 seconds.
Is this where the damn drumming and the music kicks in?
Yeah.
What is going on, everybody? Hello, and welcome to On the Pipe Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Tyler Shepherdson, and today is Tuesday, October the 25th, 2022, and you are joining us just in time for another episode of On the Pipe Podcast. This is going to be the weekend review with Big Rig Craig. Craig Oberholzer is going to be joining us here in just a few moments as we recap everything that happened over the weekend. Of course, it was the season ender, the Ironman GNCC happened in Crawfordsville, Indiana. We're going to go over some of that. Obviously, we missed last week, so there was National Enduro Championship 1. We'll talk about that. We got National Enduro coming up next weekend to close out their season as well. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of stuff that we are going to get into over the course of this show. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone for joining me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here with us on OTP. We are live on Twitch right now. So there's a few people popping on here and watching this live. Just want to throw that out again. If you go to twitch.com/onthepipepodcast or search On the Pipe Podcast on Twitch, you can go ahead and subscribe or follow us there. That way you will see the show before everybody else, because this is where we're doing it live at, and then we'll post the video later on. We'll also post the audio later on. So hello and welcome everyone joining us. And if you're listening to this after the fact, equally as thankful for you joining us and listening along. Want to start off by letting you guys know Beta Motorcycles is the official manufacturer of On the Pipe Podcast. Beta Motorcycles has been family owned and operated since 1905. They manufacture the finest enduro, trials, and dual sport motorcycles that are known for their premium quality and rideability. Beta Motorcycles are the best looking bikes on the market, and they back it up with their superior performance. Head over to betausa.com for more information on their available models, or to find a dealer near you to get yours today. Once again, they are one of the only dirt bikes that have a warranty. Oh, hold on. Still had the intro playing in the background. Sorry if you're hearing that. I'm a noob. I'm trying to figure it out. I guess I'd been playing for a little bit. So sorry if you couldn't hear my voice. We're back in action now. But yeah, so check out Beta. They got a warranty, but you don't need it because premium quality, rideability. Beta is all you need. BetaUSA.com. Check them out. Also, this episode is brought to you in part by Zach Tussle at Raymond James Financial. Zach is a racer and a financial advisor that helps his clients win when it comes to retirement and financial planning. If you or someone you know wants to save and invest for their future, or is already retired and needs advice for income during retirement, Zach Tussle is always my first recommendation. Find out more by Googling Zach Tussle or on their website at financialadvisorsdenvernc.com. He'll get you in the know, let you know all you need to know, and get you dialed in for your future. But Zach Tussle is a buddy of the show. He's a buddy of ours, and he is a buddy of our guest tonight. Our guest tonight is going to be Craig Oberholzer, Big Rig Craig. He's been on the show before, no stranger to OTP, and he was actually the OTP representative this past weekend in the industry class, racing up at the Ironman Raceway. So, welcome to the show, Craig. Thanks for joining us tonight. How's it going?
Yeah, man, it's going good. What are you thinking? What you got going on?
Not a whole lot. So we got obviously a lot to talk about over the weekend. You were actually at Ironman. You had boots on the ground. I was on a bunch of airplanes coming back, so I wasn't able to make it up to Ironman. But let's start out in the industry class. I got a text over the weekend, said, hey, I'm racing as On the Pipe Podcast in the industry class. How did this come about, and how'd they let you in that industry class?
Yeah, good friend Jennifer Leeds hooked me up. I signed up for Sportsman A, 25 plus, and we just went out Friday night. We're all hanging out, and she's like, "Oh yeah, like my brother's racing, like all the KTM guys are racing, hanging out with everybody at like B Dubs or whatever Friday night." And she's like, "Oh, I could probably like get you signed up." She's like, "You're around the races enough. Like you haven't raced a bunch of 3 hours or nothing this year, so I could pull some strings and get you in there." And I said, "Well, on the pipe podcast presents." So she got me in. And actually, she finally sent me the confirmation text at 8 a.m. on Sunday that I was actually in. So I about went to the wrong line because she about forgot about me, but we got it done, and it was cool being on the line with a bunch of fast guys who are, most of them were working for KTM. I didn't recognize some of them, but like Barry Hawk was like 3 bikes down from me. Jennifer's brother, Randy Leeds, that goes by Lord Tito, he was sitting right beside me, and just a lot of fun.
So the conditions at Ironman were 100% night and day different than they were last year. Last year, it was underwater. This year, it had zero water. But I saw this clip. I need you got some splaining to do because I saw you off of a motorcycle saying that you had too much personality and not enough skill. What happened there?
Yeah, well, just thinking about my mom, I went ahead and cut that clip because I said some curse words afterwards. I was pretty upset. As you can see from my face, it looked like I just ate a bunch of dirt. I don't know. It just 2 laps in, man, it was just so dusty. It was honestly the worst dust race I've ever rode, and just was losing power. And thankfully, I didn't suck any dirt. But Andrew Coffey, if you're listening to this podcast, please quit calling me. I'm about sick of you. But yeah, I just was headed up Ironman Hill, and someone crashed on top of it, and I didn't have a whole lot of power to the ground anyway. Like I said, my air filter probably weighed 30 pounds, it felt like. So dude stood his bike up, and I just pretty much laid it over. I was like a goon. And then I feel like I've got the clip sent to me like 30 times because then a guy goes right by me, and then another one of the guys in the industry class loop out, and his bike lands right on mine. I slide halfway down the hill. I have to crawl back up to it. So, yeah, I mean, it's not my proudest moment, but you know what? Industry class. So I can do these things. I don't care. I wasn't here to win any championships. Nothing was on the line other than me bending my bars like a freaking idiot. So
the clip from the top of the hill where you're kind of laid over next to the guy, that was the clip leading into the one at the bottom of the hill when you were talking to the camera?
Yeah, so there's a couple other clips of me just rolling down the hill like an idiot. I didn't want to post just in case I sell my gas in the next week for some reason. But, yeah, so I got up the hill. Actually, so Jesse Ansley was at the bottom filming for a vlog. Joe had his phone out,
Shout
being
out.
an idiot. Cole Whitmer had his phone out. Shout out. Cole has the whole video of me going up it, wrecking, and like the whole kit and caboodle.
Old Swole Cole?
Yeah, me at the bottom. Swole Cole, yeah, big guy. Yeah, so the video of me talking was after I wrecked and was just down there talking to the boys, but it was not my proudest moment. I definitely did not look like I needed to be in industry class after that, or at least Sportsman A. I looked like I could have been 90 years old in industry class.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. If you were racing under the OTP banner, I think that's what people would expect.
Well, I asked for a beer. Nobody had one, so I thought we had better fans at Ironman, but I guess no one wanted to hook a boy up,
A bunch of squares this year is what it sounds like.
They were scared is what it was. They were scared.
How was that old concert? Was it any good? Did you go check it out?
It was not good. For as much money as they make at these races, why can't we get like, I don't know, Young Gravy, someone relevant. Let's get someone good up there. I don't want to hear Tyler Farr sing. I don't know who was there the last 3 years. That's a problem. You should remember who was at these races because there's never concerts at these races. And all I heard was Redneck Crazy all night long.
Craig Morgan was there like 2 or 3 years ago. That was really cool.
Yeah, he rides too, doesn't he? He races.
Yeah, he's raced a bunch of GNCCs. That was it. And Davison Brothers, they're pretty good. They're like GNCC good, but the Craig Morgan concert, that was a pretty good one.
Yeah, maybe next year, old Timmy Cotter can get me a little bit of Young Gravy in there, then we'll have some parties going on.
Man, you know how it is. They spend all their money on the pro rider payouts. They can't afford talent to come play the concerts too.
Yeah, all of it.
Speaking of that, and actually, I have some bullet points. We'll get into that here in a minute. But I want to start things off. I know it kind of started off back and forth on a little bit of a lighter note. On more of a serious note, I think making its rounds on the internet, I think a lot of people have seen the clip by now. You were actually standing right next to this hill when this happened, but I want to first start out by throwing out our T's and P's to our good buddy Cody Barnes. Cody's been on the show, talked to him at all the races, and a good friend as well. But a very gnarly clip came out of him actually getting ejectocetoed off the bike at the top of the hill, and as he is rolling down the hill, Gus Reardon is actually coming up and then basically hits him like right in the head. And it sounded like a very scary scene. I found out about it first from you, and then, of course, all the videos and everything surfaced later on. So just want to start out by saying T's and P's to Cody Barnes. But from being right there and witnessing it, I'm sure it had to have been a lot scarier in person. I mean, it's scary enough looking at the video clips of it. But what was your recollection of that event?
So to start it out with, there was a bunch of us headed there. I know a lot of the mechanics were there because they had seen the picture Caleb had posted on Instagram, and everyone was like talking about how gnarly the hill was. So I was there whenever the boys took off. I could hear them from the starting line. And so the first rider was Ricky. And a lot of the mechanics who were over there were actually saying the riders said they didn't think they were going to hit it because it's pretty gnarly. And most people know whenever you go to like the first couple times a hill like that's hit, it's very soft. So even with the guys starting to hit it, I kind of assumed it was going to get cut out eventually because I thought the bottom was going to fall out of it. I thought it was just going to get a big ridge in it. But so Ricky made it good and clean. Stu was the next guy. Stu looped out, and then a couple Husky boys. Toth made it up it. Lyndon made it up it, and I think Cody was like the second guy after Lyndon. And his speed and everything was good, but he ripped up and he jumped halfway up it, which is why I think screwed him up. And when he landed, he was still on the pipe. There was a little stump there, and in some of the videos, you could see he just hit the stump.
Yeah.
The wheel caught the stump, and it just, I don't know. Me and Nick Fassey were standing right there. Nick and me both tried to grab forks, but I mean, it was just shit with both of us too.
Especially from that
Cody was
that top angle,
yeah.
You can really see how he gets caught up on that and kind of gets gnarly. A handful before it comes out. But Nick Vassy is one of the mechanics on that Phoenix Racing team.
Yes. Yeah. And he's the guy in the red shirt. Like, I've seen a lot of the TikTok videos. Actually, everyone on there was blaming Nick Vassy, saying he grabbed the throttle. If you looked at any of the comments, like on social media, I've seen a lot of people put that. Definitely not the case. We were just trying to grab the forks. Nick was a little bit closer than me, so you didn't see me try anything. But, so the bike reared up, caught the root or the stump there, and he was still holding onto the bars, and it just, it tossed him like a rag doll. So I think the bike would have been trashed after that anyway, and it was just very, very violent. And whenever Gus was coming up the hill, it wasn't Gus's fault. He was coming up the hill like he probably couldn't even see to the last second Nick, or he would have stopped, obviously. But it just sounded like a car crash, and I about puked. Like, I swore that he was, I don't want to say he's dead, but he was going to be hurt bad. And, obviously, we got airlifted out. Shout out Auntie, the KTM off-road. I don't think he's team manager anymore, but like the overseer off-road. He was super, super good whenever Cody hit the ground, got people away from him, made sure there was a nurse coming, held his head. Even when the medical crew showed up to help him, they did some questionable things, in my opinion. Like, Auntie was holding his head, and they were just like they got him up on the gurney, and me and 5 other guys carried him over to the Razor, which was, you put the backboard on the back of the Razor and they could ride it out of the woods. And Auntie was on the back of it the whole time, holding his neck, just making sure everything was good. He was out for probably, everyone at the bottom said 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. Honestly, he was out. You could see his chest moving and everything, but it didn't look good, and it was very scary. I mean, like I about puked. I swear I did. It was bad, but everyone who stepped up to help out, it's awesome that people care enough. People were calling his parents right away. his dad came down there, and he wasn't moved until his dad, at least he wasn't moved from the wreck site, like he'd been on the backboard. But they made sure his dad was down there to see him before he went anywhere. But yeah, it was pretty gnarly.
Yeah, man, that's insane. And you're talking about the comments and stuff on the videos. That was one of those situations where we've seen a lot of injuries happen this year, but it's not that often that something this gnarly happens on camera. And that was
in
at a
front
spot.
Of everybody.
Yeah, that was a spot where a lot of spectators were and where people were hanging out, and so there was a lot of videos coming out about it. But like you said, mentioned about the comments, like I've gotten to the point where every time I see that video, I have to scroll past it. Like it's tough to watch, and Cody's a gnarly dude to be able to be completely fine after that one. And for those that don't know, Cody did make a post himself, said that he left the hospital that night, so he didn't even stay overnight in the hospital. They did some CT scans and checked everything, and everything checked out positive and checked out clear. So very thankful for that, but I'm sure he's got to be hurting and got to be banged up as that was just such a gnarly freak accident.
Yeah, it was gnarly, and I guess I'd never seen someone be out that long, so we all thought the worst, hoping for the best, but it was pretty gnarly. But hopefully he'll be back feeling normal as soon as possible. I'm sure he's sore, but as long as nothing's broke and everything checks out good, hopefully see him back on the bike this winter and doing good.
Yeah, and like you said, also thankful that Auntie was there, because these situations, and Stu and I have talked about it a bunch of times on the show, but it's these situations that really put in perspective how much the safety matters and how much it is very relevant for someone to be competent and know what they're doing there. And obviously Auntie jumped right in, held traction on his head, and waited for the paramedics and stuff to get there, because in situations like that, man, everything matters, everything counts. And Cody, obviously on the junior world trophy team this year at the ISDE, Auntie is the team manager for the team, so I'm sure that they have a good relationship as well with all of that going on. But yeah, I don't know, just a gnarly situation. I'm glad that it worked out in the way that it did. But
yeah, absolutely.
But other than that, let's go ahead and run through the results of the weekend. So we'll go ahead and talk about it here. Taking the overall win, as everyone knows, everyone sees, the 212 Ricky Russell grabbed the overall win on the weekend. Stu Baylor was in that number 2 spot, so it looked like a pretty good battle between them two guys throughout the race. And then Craig DeLong last year made his XC1 debut at Ironman and ended up on the podium in that XC1 class in his first ever attempt, and he ends the season also on the podium as well. So Craig DeLong really picking it up and settling into that XC1 class. XC2, Lyndon Snodgrass coming out there and putting an exclamation mark on his season. He grabs the win. Already wrapped up the championship at the last round. He still went out there and said, I still got stuff to prove. I still want to show that I earned this number 1 plate. He goes out there, gets the win. Damn near leads the overall at one point. He was in second place for the overall for a while there. Might have actually moved into the overall lead at some point on time adjustment. So that was super cool to see, and to see Lennon take home that win. Liam Draper coming back with a resurgence towards the later end of this year. He gets on the podium once again, this time in second place. And then Rui Barbosa is going to round out the XC2 podium, and Rui, with that XC2 podium, is going to end up third place on the year for points. So
shout out Captain.
Shout out El Capitan, Captain Barbosa, ending up on the podium there. Then down in the XC3 class, Dakota DeVore coming out swinging and grabbing the win. Local Ohio boy to you, Ohioan. Jake Froman, the local from Indiana, gets the second place spot, and then Jay Lipscomb ends up in third. So he's been putting on a strong showing here at the end of the year too on that Beta 125, putting the Beta up on the box. And then we look over at the WXC class. There was a championship crowned. This was a battle coming into this one. It was basically winner take all between Taylor Jones and Rachel Archer. Whichever one of them two won the race won the championship. And Taylor got out to an early lead, and I think with 2 laps to go, she ended up kind of low siding or crashing out a little bit in a field, I think it was. And then Rachel got around her there and then just put her head down and charged all the way to the finish and ended up grabbing the win. So Rachel Archer grabs the win and grabs the championship on the year in that WXC class. Taylor Jones brings it down to the wire, ends up second place on the day, second place on the year. And Preston Rains gets her first career GNCC Women's Pro Class podium. So as your overall top 3, Rachel Archer gets the win, Taylor Jones in second, and Preston Rains in that number 3 spot. And I guess we'll start there and bounce off of that a little bit. This year in the WXC class, we've seen a lot of talent. We've seen those girls at the top really push each other to get faster and faster. And then we also had some newcomers coming into the WXC class, and mainly the young guns. The up-and-comers is Preston Rains and Jocelyn Barnes. And they both end up with podiums on the year. So I think this was their debut season for each one of them in that pro class. Maybe Preston raced a couple last year. I can't quite remember. But Jocelyn Barnes got a podium a couple rounds ago. And then Preston Rains ends her season with a podium in that WXC class. What do you think about that class? As far as, I know Corey didn't race this past weekend, but Corey's been in the mix, grabbing race wins. Obviously Rachel and Taylor have been battling. We saw Taylor win 3 championships in a row, and now she's kind of coming back and brought this battle for the championship right down to the wire. But especially like racing the morning class and getting to see them out there and just following throughout the season. What do you think about the progression of this WXC class?
Well, first, I think it's cool that Taylor's back to being healthy because last 2 years she's had, I don't know if it was wrist injuries or what, but she almost kind of took a back seat because she wasn't healthy, wasn't up to par. And I think I'm just pumped for Rachel Archer. Last year she got so close to winning it, and then the mutter, who was Becca Sheets, ended up getting her by 1 point or something crazy.
Yeah, so
it's pretty gnarly.
If Rachel won, then Becca had to get third or better. So she had to get second or third. Rachel won, I want to say, by 12 minutes last year.
Yeah, who was it? Was it Gudish that got second? Someone got second, and then she ended up who was it? Becca was in like 5th going into the last lap.
Yeah.
2 girls blew up. She ended up 3rd. Like something crazy. Everyone thought Archer had in the bag.
Yeah.
Ended up working in Becca's favor.
Yeah, I know. So Goodish was in 3rd, and then Becca ended up getting around her to get 3rd place and seal up the championship. I don't remember who got second in that race.
I think it was, I don't know, it was someone who really had been on the podium, I thought. But another thing, Corey Steed, I think this was her first year getting wins. Last year she had some bunch of podiums on the Cowie.
I think it was Corey that got second on the Cowie.
Was it last year?
I think so.
Okay, that makes sense. But, yeah, freaking pumped for her. I don't know if you've ever been around her much, but whenever she was staying down here, staying over close to Totes and riding with us, girl rips. Like, smoke my butt. And it's cool as hell. She's the coolest girl in the world, too. She's just cool to see everyone getting faster, and even Preston, I know starting out beginning of the year, she just not necessarily wasn't up to speed, just a little bit different pace. All the Sportsman A guys behind you, it's a lot different when halfway through the first lap, Caleb Russell could be racing, come by you. So that's kind of a shot to the gut for some of the girls, but
yeah.
I just it's sick, yeah.
No, and so shout out Corey Steed. Corey Steed might be the coolest guest I've ever had on the show. She was on the show like earlier this year. She's super cool to hang out with and be around. It was funny you said that, but yeah, she was real cool when she was on the show. But yeah, I mean, she started off the season with a bang too. She was leading the points there for a while, and she clicked off some wins and stuff too. So that's what I mean. Like the progression and the level that they keep pushing each other to is just insane.
Yeah, it's sick, and I think it's just cool that they 90% of the time they outrun the guys.
Yeah,
they outrun, like, there's some fast dudes in Sportsman A, like guys who can win a bunch of A-class stuff. So it's crazy how fast they are.
Yeah, for sure. And kind of transitioning from that into the rest of the field. I was trying to do the math. I was trying to think about it. We've talked about some of the silly season stuff on the podcast before. Don't want to dive into all the details now. Maybe next week we'll get into the details of silly season and bring that all up again and what we've been hearing. But just the quick calculation between XC1 and XC2 factory guys. So factory rides, like team rides. Obviously, privateers, they're going to switch bikes. They're going to do whatever's best for them or best in their interest. But I think we saw at least 9 people on their bikes for the last time. I think yesterday, from what I can just think of off the top of my head, between XC1 and XC2, 9 riders that we saw on bikes this past weekend will be on different bikes going into the 2023 season. Not to get into specifics, but what do you think about so many changes happening? This has to be the most changes that we've seen happen in the course of a GNCC offseason that I know of.
Yeah, and I mean, just off the top of my head, I know a lot of guys are staying on a lot of guys, there's a lot of switching in the Austrian brands, literally just walking 10 feet down pro road and jumping in another semi. So for a lot of guys, it's going to be pretty
technically a
much the
different
same
bike,
program.
same frame, same chassis, same motor, but technically a different bike.
I mean, I got a gas beside me. I can spray paint white and call it a Husky. No one's going to say a single word to me.
Yeah.
So pretty much, I mean, just different management stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think maybe more guys than me, but I think everybody on that pro road, doesn't matter what they're riding, is going to be fast. But I don't know. The politics in it, just changing brands and people burning bridges here and going here. It's me knowing I'll never have a ride. It's fun to watch. I love it.
What do you mean? OTP gas? It was out there this past weekend.
Well, I mean, I meant not having a different ride. Like, I'm obviously factory now. I'm factory Honda and gas, ride red. So I should just spray paint OTP. I'm waiting on graphics. But other than that, yeah, I'm staying where I'm at, just in case anyone's wanting to know if they're trying to pick me up, kick rocks. So I'm staying where I'm at.
Yeah, actually, Andrew Coffey jumped on here and says now he sees why you ignored his phone call. Thanks a lot, Andrew. You're ruining the show. We were live on air.
3 times. So I appreciate that, Andrew. It's nice of you.
But he did ask after that what team you were going to.
I thought he was watching it. And he just kept doing it to make me mad.
Yeah, going back to the Cody Barnes situation, one of the first people we'll see jump in there is a big old OTP shirt, and what do you know? It's a 6'8" teenager, Andrew Coffey, to the rescue.
Oh yeah, big GNCC era guy. Yeah, down there. Yeah, that was gnarly.
What was some of the sights and the sounds of the weekend? What did you see that maybe the Racer TV broadcast didn't see? What stood out to you from the last round, the last hoorah of the 2022 GNCC season?
I guess dust can blow up a bike just as quick as water can. I figured that out real quick. Not necessarily. Mine's still running. But I think every single bike on Pro Row is blowed up. I actually know it is. After the race, we were all just sitting there talking. All the mechanics were all just hanging out like before the trucks got done. And every single bike on Pro Row is blowed up. That's guaranteed. Toth's blew up. I think both beta bikes are blowed up. I know Evan had to retire,
no, that was something else.
Early.
That was something else.
Evan had to retire early. I mean, all the Austrian bikes, all the Jet bikes, except Lyndon was bragging to me that his Cowie didn't blow up, but the chain guide will probably just snap off of it next week. So, whatever. I mean, I guess it's not as important, but everyone's bikes blew up. I mean, dude, it was you couldn't see 3 feet in front of you. I haven't rode a race like that in a long time, so it was very interesting. It's horrible, actually. I hated it. I wouldn't have much fun. I was out there for 2 laps, and the whole time it was just like walking in a haunted house. You're supposed to reach out and grab the person in front of you so you can see. That's how it felt, because you could not see shit.
Dang. I saw a lot of videos from like the field sections and like blown up dust berms and stuff, but was the woods real dusty as well, or was it mainly just dusty out in the open spots?
So there was a 13-mile track for the 10 a.m. I was talking to a couple people afterwards. I think 2 miles of it were dark, like normal Indiana dirt. The rest of it was powder. The woods were not good, in my opinion. I didn't ride it well. Not saying I would have rode it great if it was black dirt either, but it wasn't it was very dusty. The whole woods were dusty. I heard the the bike only section was good, but most of everything was either hard packed blue groove or silt. Not good.
Yeah,
But
it looked like it wasn't a desirable one to be like, but there were still a lot of people out there racing. I think it's cool that they split the morning race up, because I've been a part of that Ironman race the year that it broke the record, and then the next year when it re-broke the record, and it's a lot to have 1,000 people out on the track at once. So at least now that's split up between two for the morning race.
Well, I know there was over 100 people in Sportsman A, combined in 25 plus and 14 to 24. And I would
Did they start them on one row?
No, so I think 25 plus was up front, and then 14 and 24. So in the 10 a.m., which was WXC, Sportsman A, Industry, Sportsman B, Super Senior A, the faster groups of usually the morning, I would say at least 500. So at least 500 there, easily.
So,
and the 10 a.m., I would say, dude, the Sea Riders are freaking diehard. I would say 6 to 7. Like, I don't know that from, I didn't go look at the numbers, but it was huge.
So for the AM1, the first race with the Sea Riders, it was 455, and then for AM2, it was 565 riders.
Okay, so I was off on one. But yeah, there's a bunch.
And the reason I did that is because GNCC, they posted, this is going to sound negative. I don't mean it to sound negative. I'm just simply reporting the news and what I see. But GNCC posted that big old drone view of the parking lot and everyone that was in there. And that's what I was like, man, Ironman's always huge. You can see that the parking lot's full. And I did the math and just kind of looked at all the different races throughout the weekend. And from all of the posted results, there was 2,751 riders that raced this weekend. And you were one of them.
Gnarly.
Which, for those at home that would like to know, 2,751 riders. I even broke it up because the prices are different for peewees and youth. So I actually broke it up and did the math separately. Micro was just under $9,500. Youth was just over $32,000. The total for everyone was $193,070 that was generated off of 2,751 riders. And the interesting part about that is that they paid $1,200 to win the pro overall race. But at what point do they finally break down and see, hey, look, the series has grown. We're the number one series by participation in the world. We have all of the eyeballs in the industry. We have an industry class. All the industry bigwigs come to these races. Off-road contracts, livings are made from GNCC racing, which is a very good thing. It's a very positive thing that they created the platform that is paying people to race it full time. But at what point do we look at this rider entry fee? So the overall payout, the payouts for everything, is 5.3% of that overall number of just the riders. That's not including the 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 spectators that were all in there at $25 a piece as well. Just the riders, just those.
30.
Do what?
$30 a piece now.
It was 30?
30. 30. It's been 30 all year.
Has it really?
Yeah.
I thought it was 25.
No.
Oh.
30.
We'll add another $5 times 2,751 to that number. But that's the thing that when you just talk about that is only riders. So of those 2,751 riders, only them, not including fans, they pay $1,200 to win. But the overall payments, so the overall payments from 1st to 10 in XC1, 1st to 5th or whatever it is in XC2, all of the XC3 payouts, all the WXC pays out, quads and bikes, 5.3% of the revenue of only the riders, not including fans. And just for instance, if you include that every rider has an average of one person, we know that it's probably a lot more than that. But if every rider brought one more person, that's $68,775 at $25 a piece. So now you're over $250,000 and you're paying $1,200 to win the race. I don't know. I'm trying to phrase this into a question, but kind of just get your opinion on it too, just to hear from another perspective. But it seems like at some point when you realize how much the series has grown, that it's gotten so big that the morning race has to be split up. It's gotten so big that there's people lining up on Monday to get into a race on a Saturday and Sunday. But one thing that we haven't seen is the payouts go up. The trophies, they haven't changed. They're still the same plaques. And that's not including transponder money, T-shirt money, sponsor money, anything. That's just riders. So, I mean, what, in your opinion, what do you think we could do to spark that change, to create a difference, to create more money, more income for these riders that are out there risking everything to be there?
If your girlfriend cheats on you and you don't break up with her, you think she's going to stop? We keep going back. I mean, nobody's going to stop going to the races, so they think in their mind, what are you going to do? Just stop going to us and start racing Wexers full time and put 2,000 riders out of Wexer every weekend. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess they think they have the upper hand, which, I mean, technically, all the sponsorship money's going there. All the factory rigs are going there. So it sounds like it's got to be something someone's just got to smack them, you know what I mean? Wake them up. Say, listen, this is what we got to do. We're trying to make a living. Hell, diesel fuel was $5.30 on the way up in a Sprinter van. It's expensive. Like, you can't afford to do it. So, I mean, they're just going to have to get a change of heart, or the factory teams are going to say, hey, we're putting $5,000 for a factory rider to win. You're only putting $1,200, and you're making this much money, and we're spending this much money to come. Like, someone's just going to have to be like, hey, listen, this is what you got to do. And I mean, this is where it starts. I mean, we're sitting here talking about it now. The right person hears about it, tells them, people start bitching about it. I mean, maybe eventually they'll do it, but, you got bigger names like Stu talking about it all the time, and it hasn't, It's just like the medical staff at the races. I would rather see better medical staff than anything. But regardless, I mean, we need both. I mean, if it's I'm not their accountant or anything. I don't know what the numbers are looking like, but from an outsider looking in, it's looking like they can afford to help us out a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously there's a lot of expenses that go into it, especially when you start talking about that many people, and there's a lot of hidden costs that people don't realize, and it takes a lot of money to run it. And so it's kind of subjective to sit here and pull these numbers off the top, but that's why I did it from only rider entry fees, not fans, not anything like that. But it's not up to a race series to provide a living to the people racing it, but it is up to them to stay with the times, to stay with the growth as they grow, to give back to the people that is the reason it's growing. Without people racing, there is no GNCC, there is no race series. And like you said, even if it's not increasing the pro payouts, which absolutely should happen, it hadn't happened in probably a decade or more, but benefit things that benefit the amateurs or things that benefit everybody. Like you said, use some of that money to get staff out there, more medical stuff out there to prevent some of these injuries, or in case something even worse happens, to kind of help out with that too. But I don't know. It's you made a good analogy with the whole girlfriend thing, but yeah, it's just something that I wanted to bring up, because especially when you see those pictures come up, you see the drone shots come up where they're showing how many people are there. You're like, oh, well, everyone showed up in these droves to support you and to make this such a huge event. What did you do to give back? And I think that's where it leaves blank so much. Do what?
Sorry to cut you off. Look at like IXCR and Mid-East this weekend. I mean, Mid-East is, I think the pro payout's like huge money. And IXCR is usually like $800 to $1,000, and that's just like a series in Indiana. So I mean, if they could do it, why couldn't a series making 7 times the amount of revenue do it?
Yeah, and I mean that's one thing I've talked about before too. Is I don't mean to make it like a GNCC bash session, because I do appreciate everything they do, and everyone appreciates what they do, and they do a lot for the sport, obviously. But it's just they're the premier series. They are the example. They are the one that everyone is chasing. They are the cream of the crop, the top of the top. And I'm trying to stall as I'm looking up the Mid-East payouts for this weekend.
I think it's pretty big.
Yeah, it's
I know a
huge.
bunch of guys that are coming down to race it too. Yeah.
I used to announce that series for a little while. I guess not anymore.
That's what you get for going to Egypt.
Do what?
That's what you get for going to Egypt.
I know, man. It was a once in a lifetime opportunity I couldn't turn down.
How'd you get those bricks in your house?
I laid them a couple weeks ago.
Oh, big mason guy.
Yeah, it's solid.
Nice.
Grout's all healed up and good to go now. I'll tell you what, ain't no wolf getting through that thing. I'd bet my last dollar. Is this it? Hold on. Oh, so here we are. So the pro purse for our local North Carolina series, not even a regional. First place, $3,000. Second place, $1,500, which is more than to win a GNCC for second place. Third place, $1,000. Fourth place, $800. Fifth place, $500. Sixth place, $300. Seventh place, $200. And then even the A class. To win the A class, it's $500, $300, $200, $100. I'm not that good at math, so I don't know what that total purse payout is, but it's a lot. Yeah,
Oh no, I'm gonna put some KY jelly on my hips this weekend. $100.
there you go. Man, I'm just a few weeks shy of racing that old 30-plus double A class, making some money. And the only reason I can make some money in it because I'm pretty sure the only person that ever races is Dustin Beatty. So I could get a top 3 when there's only one person.
Yeah, I'll call a couple of buddies and see if we can't get up that ante a little bit.
Hey, you calm down with all that. You hear me?
We'll call Dr. Steve McSwain, get him down there.
Papa Steve.
52 years old, go run a clinic on everybody.
Yeah. You almost led me into something I'm not supposed to say. How about JoJo? JoJo Cunningham breaks his femur in half, misses most of the season, comes back too soon, can't even walk, but he's on a bike ride.
Only 5'3".
Do what?
Only 5'3". Only 5'3".
Only 5'3" on a good day.
Only 5'3".
Standing uphill.
Yeah.
And he gets 8th place overall this weekend. Not only does he get 8th place overall, but he's doing stand-up seat wheelies down
Stand-up
pro
wheelies.
row. Was that you that filmed that?
No, that was Randy, Jay Leeds' brother. Yeah, he was laying him down. Did you see him hit the brake and bump and about eat shit
At the end of
in the
it?
video?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had I don't know, him, and I guess like that's sick and everything. Like I think he'd been like, he got a couple like top 12. Like he'd been 12th and 11th. I think he got a 10th. Eighth is gnarly.
8th overall.
I mean, what is that? Is that 4th and XC2? Close. Can't be too far.
Pretty close, yeah.
Easily a top 5, starting a minute behind. I don't know if he started. Well, hell, he's behind XC3. I'm not sure if they were the first A class to start. And then
Yeah, I don't know
Cooper
if they
Jones.
were either.
Cooper Jones was right behind him too. I think he ended up 10th overall. I think Herrera ended up in between him in the overall. But Cooper Jones, I haven't seen him have yeah, I'm telling you, I'm an animal. That's my Chilean, my homie. But Cooper Jones, I don't think he's had a real good ride all year. He was on JoJo's ass 4th lap. I was like, holy shit, look at him. 36. I thought it was DeLosa, which he had a pretty good ride too. But it was Cooper Jones, and I hadn't really seen him do much all year. And then comes out to Ironman, gets 10th overall from 258. So that's gnarly.
Yeah, Cooper Jones in West Virginia got a 22nd overall. And then other than that, I mean, 42, 39, 50, 47, 56, 62, 32,
10th.
31, and then 10th overall.
How many XC2 guys were there this weekend? I'm assuming there was 6 XC1, I think.
There was
Maybe
14,
7 XC1.
14 XC2 guys.
That's sick.
But, yeah, JoJo, 8th place overall, would have been 5th place in XC2.
Yeah, it's
From
sick.
who knows what row. I don't know what row.
At least 2 rows back.
Yeah, I don't know what row 258 started on, but he had to work his way through XC3, work his way physically through XC2, to end up 8th place overall, and then, oh, hey, by the way, let me throw some stand-up wheelies down pro row on my way to this 8th place overall.
Yeah, I guess he got sick after the race. His dad filled up creek water. Like, he ran out of water. He just needed something to drink afterwards. He said his dad filled up a bottle of creek water and he puked.
Oh, really?
I said, attaboy.
He's
Yeah,
like
I guess he's going to come stay and do some riding this winter.
Do what?
He's a dickhead. That's what he is. He's cool. He's a freaking dude. He's wild. Just some stupid shit. He is a good dude. He's going to come down and stay, I guess, this winter some. Ohio gets pretty cold in the next month or two. He said come down about December and start riding, and maybe go to Oz Ranch and do some riding down at Manchester and GTR.
You go to the Oz Ranch and ride with a few of his teammates up there.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. But for being, I think he's 18. I don't think he's 19 yet. He's 18.
Yeah, I think he just
fast.
turned 18.
Which, I mean, there's a bunch of fast 18-year-olds. I mean, Angus, he's 18. He led a lap in the overall at Coker. So, I mean,
yeah.
there's some fast dudes right now.
Brody can't be more than, what, 19, 20 maybe?
Yeah, he's not that old. He stoved his wrist this weekend too. He didn't end up finishing, but I don't know the extent of that. But I seen him after the race, and he was in pretty good spirits about it. But he did stove his wrist pretty good to swell it up.
That's not good.
No, he's all right though. He'll be good.
So Brody will be going to XC2 next year. I think he'll immediately do well. Do you know if JoJo's moving up?
I believe 250A again.
250A again. So.
Yeah.
And we talked about it before, but so Grant Davis, he's another one that has been doing really well. Could go up next year, could not go up next year. But JoJo, I know this year was supposed to be his last year as an amateur, and then he was going to move up to XC2. But as we mentioned, he broke his femur earlier this year, and he actually came on the show and talked about that and some of his recovery process. So you're saying right now he's leaning towards another year 250A and then moving up after that. Do you know about Grant Davis, if he'll be moving up or staying in 250A?
So I've actually never met Grant. I'd seen him down the shoulders riding a little bit, but I think he smack me if I'm wrong, I guess, but I'm pretty sure he hurt his shoulder this weekend. He came off second lap, and I thought I seen him have something on his shoulder leaving the Babbitt's tent, but must not have been that bad. I mean, he was walking around the pits, but he got hurt this weekend too, but I have not heard anything about him, what he's going to do. I heard he's on a different color. I'm not 100% sure, but I heard he was going to be on something else. But I'm assuming another 250A, because did he win? Who won 250A this year?
Based on what I heard, I'm not going to dive too deep into that situation, but I think he'll probably still be on green. Grant Davis won the 250A championship this year.
Yeah. I don't see why he wouldn't just run it again. I think he's younger than JoJo, isn't he?
I think so, yeah. Because I think he came up the year after JoJo got off little bikes.
Yeah, I mean, no reason to move up too quick, you know.
Especially now that, I mean, these two young guys, they're both on a factory Cowie-supported machine. So, I mean, if you got that in the bank and you're doing good, I mean, I guess it's that risk versus reward between moving up or staying down until you're completely ready to compete with the top guys. But, I mean, JoJo, I think he's ready to compete with the top guys. He got 8th place overall on the weekend.
Yeah.
And this is what, his fourth race back? Fourth, fifth race back?
Yeah, I think he rode the last he rode one, the Hoosier. He rode Indiana number 1. And then I think he chilled out until the first round back after summer break and rode all 4.
What about Ricky Russell on the weekend? He led every lap and ended up getting the win, which I think is pretty cool. Ricky this year,
home dog,
2 wins on the season, came into the season with 1 career win, and now he's got 3 career wins. So he had double the wins this season than he had in his entire career. He came down to the wire, almost clicked off another win at the Boy Scout. Or
no,
Snowshoe.
Snowshoe, huh?
Snowshoe is like 0.2 seconds or 2 seconds off of Jordan with the time adjustment. So, But yeah, I mean, he's another guy that has been really turning some heads and coming into his own again at the end of this year and capping it off with a win. So that's a lot of confidence going into next season. But how did he look out there this weekend?
First off, shout out Don Kelly, home dog, mechanic Ricky Russell.
Yeah, he's back out
this
there.
weekend, hanging out, drinking beers with the boys. Love that. So I don't know if Rick got the whole shot or not, but he was first to the hill climb. Closest one to him was Stu. And Stu probably lost 45 seconds, 50 seconds after that wreck on the hill first lap. That's where they stayed the entire race. Like I don't think Stu ever seen them, but Rick was just cruising. I mean, he was ripping, but staying out front, staying smooth. I mean, I took some clips of him. Everything is ripping. It's super cool too, because I mean, obviously he's had some bad luck the last couple of years, and obviously like a shoulder injury this year. I don't know. I like it. I'm buddies with all of them. I just think Rick's like a cool ass dude, so pretty pumped for him.
Yeah, 100%. I'm in that same boat with you. And I mean, Stu coming out with a second. Johnny Gerard. I think Johnny is going to be an instant competitor for the overall championship next year. This was actually his first race up technically in the XC1 class. He got fourth place, and I think he was actually behind the XC1 guys as well. I know moving up to that 450, especially after being on 250 for so long, it's got to take some adjustment. It's got to take some getting used to. But did you hear anything through the grapevine about Johnny and his race over the weekend?
Yeah, I think he's on a 350. But
that's what I thought too. But I think it was Nelco told me that he was on a 450 this weekend.
I don't know. We went and rode 2 weeks ago. He was on a 350. So I just assumed. But I actually seen him after the race. He blew up. He came pushing his bike back. And I said, hey, man, how's everything going? And he kind of pulled his shirt up a little bit. And he had an asteroid on the same hip that he had broke.
Oh, no.
He was all smiles. I mean, you know Johnny.
Yeah.
I mean, just tough as nails. He said, caught the hip good. He said, no big deal, nothing hurt. He said, I don't know if he had a bib disintegrate. He had a couple things happen. He said, I had a lot of things against me. He said, we were just, out here having a good time, making some money. So he's a cool dude. Like, I don't know if whoever has not met him, if you get a chance to talk to the guy, he's good as gold. He's about wild as can be, but just always running around smiling.
Oh, yeah.
He's a cool dude. Yeah, but I think he did probably eat shit once or twice because he had a couple souvenirs. Yeah.
He's also one of those guys that if you go up to him at a race, he'll talk to you like you guys have been best friends for 10 years.
Oh, yeah. First time I met him, I talked to him for like an hour, and he's just sitting there smiling, hanging out, having a good time.
Yeah.
Didn't even know my name.
Even like Camp Coker. Camp Coker was 2 rounds after he broke his pelvis, and he's out riding a mountain bike around, and you talk to him like he's like the happiest guy in the world.
Yeah, that's a wild character. I'm glad we're buddies because I wouldn't want him as an enemy. The guy's he's like a freak of nature,
man.
But he's just there's some good dudes running around here.
After I saw him and Tyler Bruton wrestle each other on the asphalt at Snowshoe, I'm glad I'm friends with him too.
Yeah, they beat the shit out of each other. Like Johnny's nuts and Tyler's a real good wrestler. And they just beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
And I think is that the race that Johnny, his first podium in XC2? He's on Suzuki's, huh?
Yep. He was on an MCS Suzuki. He got his first podium, and that was the night Ricky Russell won and got his first win. That was the same night, and it got a little wild up on the mountain.
Yeah, that was dangerous. I remember that. I had people pouring beers on my face and stuff. I looked like one of them college girls that night.
Man, so this is a really, really early prediction, really early time to get into this. We're way before when it should be talked about. But I'm going to ask the question anyway. 2023, Ben Kelly's going to be back. Thad Duvall is going to be healthy. Johnny Gerard is going to be in XC1. Ricky Russell's coming off some wins. Craig DeLong coming into his own. Josh Strang is going to be back, going to be healthy. Who am I missing? The champion, Jordan Ashburn. He's going to be defending that number 1 plate. How do you think this XC1 class is going to shape up next year? Ben Nelko, I think he's moving up full-time to XC1 next year. how you think it's going to go? What's your early prediction here in October 2022? Who's the 2023 champion?
Ben Kelly. Not a, I don't, buddies with all of them, don't mean to be a dick, but if Ben Kelly comes back and everything's, if he has 2 months of training, Ben Kelly.
I mean, judging on what he did to start his season this year and how far that took him into the season to where we were coming back after summer break and he hadn't raced in 2 or 3 months and was still in the championship race, I think that's a very, very solid prediction.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to say. It's like, take you back, 2 years ago? Caleb's last year. Ricky, before he got hurt real bad at Georgia.
Yeah.
Unreal fast. Like, was probably going to win Georgia. If that Ricky shows up, he could run with Ben. Because Ben, he just doesn't – I wouldn't say he's necessarily the fastest guy out there. Like, he's not the absolute fastest sprinter. If you go to a sprint enduro, I don't think he would win all of them. But I think he can run 99% and not have an issue. Like, obviously, he got hurt this year and it sucks. But other than that, his track record's pretty good. I think 2 years ago he might have had the AC separation or collarbone or something. The dude's a freak of nature. Whenever he's healthy and going good, he just hits his marks. He's not wild. He's crazy to watch. But the last 3 years, I mean, all of a sudden you'll see Strang. Did he win one this year? Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He won John Penn, didn't he?
Yep, he won the Penn.
Strang shows up out of nowhere. First ride back. Was that his first ride? Yeah.
Yeah, so that was his first ride back from breaking his arm, and then come to find out he won that race with his bones not even connecting and not even healed.
Yeah, dude. So it's kind of hard to sit here and say anything whenever, anything could happen, but I just think I favor Ben Kelly because of how, good he was in 2021, how good he was starting out this year. And obviously anybody can get hurt, anybody in XC1. So something stupid could happen at round one again, just like this year. Hopefully it doesn't, but it could. But if everyone stays healthy, Ben Kelly. But like I said, anybody could do it. Anybody.
2 years ago, Caleb's last year, Strang got second place on the year. And then last year just had a series of unfortunate events that took him out of several different races, and that kind of took him out of it last year. And then this year, breaks his arm in Florida. But then, I mean, Stu, look at Stu. Last year, I think he won 7 or 8 races.
Yeah. And he was down one. I mean, the only reason, not the only reason, but after the National Enduro, he didn't run, after he cut his hip open real bad, or his side there, he didn't race Big Buck.
Yep.
So.
And then he essentially DNF Florida. He didn't DNF it, but it was like 7th or 8th place.
Yeah. Clutch or something went out, yeah.
So. And then also, man, Johnny Gerard on that front row. I mean, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with too, I think.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know. Like I just told you flat out, I think Ben Kelly. Then I got to thinking about, Ricky. And Josh won one right off from not riding for 2 months. I don't know. Craig DeLong's running third. Right, he was right on Stu Baylor all day, all day Sunday. It's not like Stu smoked everybody. Craig was maybe 10 seconds off of him. So anyone can do it. Toast could get his second win ever. Just whatever. But
second win.
But I think Ben's a freak of nature. I think if he's healthy, he's in.
Yep, and also just as sure as the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, if any of them boys slip up and have any mistakes or miss any races, Jordan Ashburn is going to be right there. Jordan Ashburn is going to be at every round. Jordan Ashburn is going to be on the podium damn near every round.
Do you remember me? You remember me saying that at the beginning of the year when you were asking me, talking about all the riders?
Yeah.
And we were doing our Tesla interview. I said Jordan Ashburn is literally there every single weekend. So if anything happens, he's going to win.
Yeah.
And he didn't win all of them. He won 2 of them, but it's because he was second.
His first two career wins.
Yeah, it's consistency.
Yep. And, I mean, that is exactly it. Jordan Ashburn, he's been third place in points the last 3 years in a row. And then this year, he capitalizes on that consistency, and now he's a champion. His name is in the history books forever. The last decade, there's been 3 people to win that championship, and now he's one of them.
How about that Magnum 1 team? Almost, I mean, they won XC1, XC3. How did the quad rider do? Who was the quad rider?
Bryson Neal won the championship,
3.
beat Walker Fowler.
Hell yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean,
this is one thing. It's actually one of the things that's in my notes, and I sent it over to you as well. But Magna 1, they are a satellite team. They are not a factory team. They are a satellite team. And I don't think – I tried to go back and look at it. Obviously, there's really not a good way to figure this information out. But there has to have never have been a team that won both XC1 championships. There can't be, right?
I don't know. I just know that, obviously they're not factory, but someone, whoever's paying them championship bonuses, they were probably in hot water there for a minute. Man, I need these guys to freaking – somebody to get a DNF because I can't afford freaking three bonuses, but just messing around. But I don't know. I think it's gnarly. Like, I know a lot of the guys over there, the mechanics are cool, the truck driver, home dog. And I don't know. Brody Johnson definitely is ripping on a 125. And was Jack Eddy the XC2 rider they had at the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they had a solid roster. I mean, I thought Jack Eddy was going to be XC2 champ. Like, from the last couple of years whenever he was over here, like I thought, which I don't know nothing about the four-wheelers. I'm not going to sit here and lie to anybody and say I know anything because I didn't even know Bryson Neal was on that team. I knew he won, but that's just – I wouldn't have ever Googled it, Sorry. But yeah, it's pretty sick to see all the success, and I think now that means Magnum 1's going to be the first semi. Well, that's a lie. I just lied to you.
That's right.
Yeah. Jordan's the next winner. Yeah, Magnum 1 will be the first semi pulling in.
Both days.
First time in 10 years, 12 years, because KTM's won every single time for the last
9 straight. Well, and Charlie won before that.
Charlie, yeah, and Ben just won. So
11
did
years.
Caleb win 8 straight or 9?
Caleb won 8. Ben won 9. Charlie won it before Caleb, makes it 10. And I think Strang was before
Whibley
Charlie.
Was the last. Was it Strang or was it Whibley? When did Strang win it?
2011.
Then, yeah. Well, Whibley might have won it in 12. Because Whibley won on that 10 to 13 body style Yamaha, I think.
Those were weird bikes. I had one. Super weird.
They're pretty ugly, yeah.
That is absolutely insane. And knowing Chris Landers as well as I know Chris Landers, he's the owner of that Magna 1 team, those championship bonus checks are going to hit him right in the wallet. But I guarantee that he couldn't be happier to write those checks. I mean, that's like it's a Cinderella story. I talked to him a little bit the other day. I think it was Thursday. I was in Egypt and I talked to him, and he was talking about going into the weekend and what Bryson had to do to win it. And that's when he was like, we might have the number 1 spot in the semi for both days. So they get to pull that rig up on Friday or Thursday whenever they get there, and they don't got to move because they're number 1 on Saturday and they're number 1 on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is absolutely absurd. I think it's awesome. And then, just let's throw on an XC3 championship on top of that.
Yeah, it's gnarly. I don't know what their plans are next year for an XC2 guy either, but
Brody Johnson.
Well, no, Brody. Yeah, sorry.
Yep.
So they got a solid lineup. It's sick.
That's another story in and of itself. Last year, Jonathan Johnson on the Magna 1 team wins the XC3 championship. This year, Brody missed all of last year with a broken leg. Well, the majority of last year with a broken leg. Well, then he gets on the same team, the same bike, wins the same championship. So the brothers go back-to-back. Jonathan Johnson, XC3 champ last year. Brody Johnson, XC3 champ this year, which I think is pretty cool as well.
And now they're finally going to do a whole season of both of them in XC2. Because whenever Brody broke his leg, that was his first race in XC2 on that Honda.
Yeah.
And he was right in front of her, right behind Jonathan.
Yeah.
So I bet Joyce Riddle's going to have to be smacking some kids here before too long. They're going to be hating each other.
Yeah, so it was funny. Joyce messaged me last week because obviously I didn't do the show, and she said something about it, and I think it was on her. She was driving somewhere. She's like, I don't know what to do when I can't listen to my OTP. And I was like, you better relax. You just like listening to it because your kids keep winning everything.
That's what it is.
Jonathan won National Enduro, and then Brody won the championship. It's like, well, you just want to hear me talk about them Johnson boys.
Did Brody win the Pro 2 championship?
No. So that is still to be decided this week. Well, I guess technically it's already over. Ben Nelko won the Pro 2 championship. I think he's ahead by 31 points right now, but there was a little bit of mishaps and a little bit of miscalculations at the last round, so they didn't crown him at the last round. But I'm pretty sure Nelko's already wrapped it up.
It's the gold wheels.
It's the gold wheels, 100%.
I just happened to have a set too, so.
Oh, really?
About to set the
for
world on
the
fire,
CR or for the gas?
Gas.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll spray paint the ones on the CR. Hell with that thing.
There you go. But other than that, I meant to open the show with a very special announcement, so I'll go ahead and make that announcement now. I've been up to something. Up to something season has still not come to light. That's what up to something season is, and it's been very stressful. It's been very hard to figure out. Hopefully we're close to letting you know what the big thing is that we've been up to, but now I'm up to something else. As you guys may or may not know, as you've seen everywhere, Travis Pastrana, Ryan Sipes, they're putting on a race down in the Dominican Republic. It is the Terra Inferno race. It's a hard enduro. In the past, they've built like all sorts of stuff going into the ocean, into the city streets. There's a rock quarry, but it's an invitational race from all over, riders from all over the world, and got everything officially official. Going down to the Dominican Republic, I'm gonna be the announcer at the Terra Inferno race. So, super pumped about that. Got the all-inclusive resort to stay in while we're down there, and I'll be hanging out with them boys and announcing that Terra Inferno race. So I couldn't be any more stoked about that. I'm pretty pumped about it.
Yeah, could you do some explaining on that too? Because I kind of looked at the picture of the, like the breakdown of how the event goes. Do you have that with you? Do you know how it goes? I'm sure you've already kind of looked at it, but because at first I thought it was going to be like all in one day or something like that. But I got to looking. And it's like a 3-day event, correct?
So before it was supposed to be an all-week event. It was like Monday through Friday, but now they changed it. So November 30th is a welcome barbecue at Mr. Pastrana's private villa. So I'm also a little bit nervous because if there's one person in this world that would probably fangirl over meeting is Travis Pastrana, and now I got to like work an event that he's hosting, so I got to contain my 10-year-old Tyler that was watching him do a double backflip in 2006 at the X Games, except I guess I was 14 when that happened. Anyway, and then race 1 is on December 1st, 2 20-minute plus 1 lap motos on an electrifying course carved out of a massive quarry is what it says. And then
it says like moto?
No, I think it's gonna be similar to like how TKO does it. Like they do that hot lap qualifier thing.
Okay.
And that determines your race order. Because race 2 is a pure hard enduro. It's a 2-hour long hard enduro on a 6-mile course. So that race 1, that 20-minute plus 1 lap will determine your start order for that race 2, which is a 2-hour-long hard enduro on a 6-mile course. And then race 3 is the following day, and that's another extreme enduro at nighttime in the jungle, is what it says. So that'll be interesting. And then December 3rd is race 4. It's called Hell in Paradise. And yeah, it doesn't say how that one's going to be. But sounds like it's going to be a pretty crazy week of racing.
Have they said who all the riders are? Like I know Stu got a welcome thing on Instagram. Have they released anything?
So I'm waiting on the full list of riders. They're supposed to be sending it over to me because
I know 2 of them. I know Stu is.
To be honest with you, man, I don't think that they're done announcing it yet. Like, I still think that there's names that are coming out.
Yeah.
But the
So
ones that I've
I
seen
won't
so
say who the other one
far,
is, I guess.
Graham Jarvis, Stu Baylor, Manny Lettenbichler, I believe Jordan Ashburn is going to be over there. Cody Webb is going to be over there. I think that might be all the ones that I've seen. But like I said, I don't think that they're done releasing the names.
So is it mostly based on hard enduro then?
Yeah, so the race is technically a hard enduro.
Damn it, Manny.
And also, so Wade Young was going to be there. Also, heard through the grapevine that maybe someone's going to be making their new team announcement while we're down there. Or maybe it's not a new team. Maybe they're announcing the contract extension with their current team. I don't know.
I mean, I've heard of a couple of those, yeah.
But
I'm just saying,
maybe
Steve Miller going to show up and ride a hard enduro on a YZ252 stroke.
Maybe. Or maybe
Russell
with it
did
being after December 1st, they might be able to ride a different bike. I don't know.
What if we just get him a KTM 300 and spray paint it blue? Do you think Randy'd be all right with that?
Maybe. I don't know who you're alluding to or who you might be talking about, but someone on here, Mod Dog, just asked if they put a rider limit. I'm pretty sure it's invitational.
Yeah.
It's definitely invitational. So
We're going to Day in the Dirt the week before. Me and Brantley Schnell, Cole Johnson, and Austin Sedgwick. We're driving out the 19th.
where's it at?
So we'll get there like the Day in the Dirt.
Wait, you're missing Thanksgiving with your family?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah.
I told Mom and Dad we could do it the weekend before, and there was some like, well, I don't know. So I was like, all right, well, last year for Thanksgiving, this is no shit. Last year when I was working for KTM, listen, I took a nap in the hotel room, all right, and then I woke up and Mom and Dad woke me up and asked me what I was going to eat. It was like 7:45. Got on the phone. I said, I want Golden Corral. I want to go in there and just absolutely go hard. Go down the road, Golden Corral. People are in there eating. The door's locked. The people will not let me in. About to have a heart attack. Little fat Craig's wanting to eat something. So I go down to like Five Guys, closed. It's Thanksgiving Day, so I kind of understand. I ended up eating my Thanksgiving Day dinner. I go to a movie theater that's open and go watch some Ryan Reynolds movie. And I get 2 of those piece of shit frozen pizzas and a Snickers bar and 2 blue Gatorades. It is the saddest day of my life. All my family, they just got done eating. I mean, it's 10 o'clock at night at this point. They're all sleeping. It's 1 o'clock in the morning in North Carolina. I'm in California. I'm sitting here watching this Ryan Reynolds film with freaking frozen pizza, maybe some popcorn or 2. And so this year I thought, this year I can't wait to hang out with the family. Now turns out we're going to my buddy Brandon Krause's house, and we're going to make
shout out
Friendsgiving. Shout out Friendsgiving at Brandon Krause's house. So me and some buddies will be in Temecula area the week of Thanksgiving. Go out there and have a good time and race Day in the Dirt. But what I was getting at, if I wasn't going to Day in the Dirt, it would have been so sick to go watch that DR race. That'd been gnarly.
Well, that's what, man, I wanted to go watch it anyway because, I mean, why not go to the Dominican Republic, hang out, and then it just so turned out that I get to announce it, which is, I still don't know how or why, but I'm not going to argue with it. Stoked on it. But the 19th, that's like a Sunday, isn't it?
So I know there's a Carolina XC that weekend.
There's also a Mid-East that weekend. I used to announce for them, but I don't anymore.
Yeah. And then Thomas Caldwell called me earlier wanting me to go
Big Tom
to Brown the 19th. Big Tom, shout out. And I think we're leaving the Friday before, so I might be leaving the 17th. Yeah, because we want to get there Monday. We want to go to like Kahia, Fox, meet some buddies out there we know, do some riding.
That's my birthday weekend. I ain't get no call, no invites to ride Brown Mountain on the 19th.
You did. Oh, never mind. I thought you were talking about going to California. You definitely got invited to that. He just called me like, I'm looking at my watch like it's going to matter, but it was today.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
maybe he thought you weren't going to change your tires or something. Maybe he thought you were just hanging out,
Listen, the only place that these tires that are on this bike are good at is Brown Mountain.
I have like 6 sets of Dunlops here, bud.
I got
$200 for a rear tire I'll hook you up today.
I got a stack of some tires over there. No free shout outs, though. I'm not gonna say what they are. I'm just kidding. So if I race day in the dirt, I could race the 30 plus class. My birthday is the 16th.
Let's think about that. Glenn
Vet
Helen,
rider.
30 plus.
Do what?
Let's think about who all is going to be there. Who do you think is going to be at Glen Helen racing 30 plus?
Not me. Chris Kiefer.
Yeah. Trying to think who was all there last year. That was real fast. Like Cody Schock. Cody Schock was gnarly. Austin Politelli. There was a couple 500 Hondas running around that were pretty sick. But shit, I forgot who. There was some older guy. Twitch was there cruising around. But there was someone that was older that was super fast. I don't think it was Rhino. Safe to say I would not want to run 30 plus at Glen Helen.
What about Zacho? What happened with him this weekend?
Oh, he put a post out, I think. He got a whole shot, and I think he crashed in the dust. I don't know if he got a mouthful of it or what. But a couple of buddies were like, oh, yeah, we seen Zacho cruising around, like just cruising, like wasn't in much of a hurry. Like, went ahead and let Caleb go. What kind of bike was he on this weekend?
Husky.
Was
it you that told me something? No, somebody else told me something about him. What are you about to say?
Same thing you were about to say.
What are you about to say? I've heard some really weird rumors.
Yeah, I forget where I heard that, so I don't think I won't say anything because I thought for some reason you were the one that told me, but I don't think you are now, so I'm just not gonna say a word.
Yeah, I don't think I told you, but I'll say it. I don't care. I heard that Zach Osborne may potentially have an XC2 deal with Yamaha next year. Is that what you heard? Allegedly?
I don't know.
I already said it. Why can't you say if you heard it or not? I heard it from multiple people.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you got something going on there for you. I'll just sit here and shut up.
Do what?
Sounds like you know them. I don't know.
Well, is that what you were alluding to?
I heard something.
I heard that and I just immediately wrote it off because it sounds implausible because I'm pretty sure he just signed a multi-year like ambassador deal with Husky. So I don't understand how you can reroute that because that's a fact.
You can reroute.
Well, that would be very interesting to see if that ends up panning out.
Yeah, it's kind of like signing the multi-year deal with Sherco. You can get out of it.
Well, I guess in America anything's possible.
Yeah, bud. Land of the free, home of the brave.
That's so. If that does happen, though, that's going to be so strange to me. On like a lot of different levels.
Yeah, I don't know. If that does happen, that'd be sick.
I wouldn't be mad about it.
Lyndon's gonna roll him.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
But
who will be next C2 next year? There's gonna be a bunch of fast guys in there. Hey, I will tell you one thing too. Ansley rode real good this weekend. So shout out Jesse Ansley. He ended up 6th or 7th. I think Mason ended up getting in that last lap. Jesse fell down. But yeah, I was pumped for Jesse too. He had a good ride.
Have you heard anything about what he's doing next year?
I mean, I think he's going to be on the orange bike. Yeah.
I didn't know if he would still be with them or going somewhere else or what, but
yeah, I don't necessarily know what team wise, but I believe he'll be on the orange one. Yeah.
Neat. Well,
yeah. And Mason got 6th. That's sick.
Yeah. Mason is a guy too that he's struggled with staying healthy this year, just having bad luck. But I think he's a guy that's a competitor as well, for sure.
Well, what I think, it's the same thing as like Lyndon. These guys came all the way over here. Like, Josh Strang helped them out, and I mean, obviously their families, and now they got the Oz Ranch and the Reardons, which is a sick group of people to be around. Like, imagine being in Lyndon or Mason's shoes. Like, imagine me or you being professional over here and just moving across the freaking world to Australia. It'd be the same thing as what they're doing. But they came all the way over here. They don't have any family here. They just have some of their mates that they grew up racing with. Like Lyndon and Mason grew up like, around each other, obviously. So it's like what is it, Cinderella story. Like it's pretty sick to see him coming over here and competing. And Lyndon just won XC2. Mason is fast enough once he gets everything figured out, and stays off the ground. He's gonna be gnarly.
Mm-hmm.
All the Australians are. I don't know what it
Gus?
is about Australians coming over here and screwing up all of our American pride. It's freaking killing me.
Yeah.
Except
They're taking our
Australians.
jobs.
Yeah, they're taking our jobs. But our Australians swear they're up and down they're Americans. I mean, you'll see Lyndon walking around shooting 9 mils at targets, wearing his red, white, and blue socks and shit. Dude's more patriotic than half the people here.
Exactly.
I said, Lyndon, you Australian? Hell no, I'm American, he said.
And hell, Strang's been in America now longer than he was in Australia. He's American.
Yeah, he lost his accent. Yeah.
Yep. Americanized. But, I mean, Strang came over here and in his second or third year over here wins the GNCC overall championship. There wasn't an XC2 back then. And now Lyndon comes over, second or third year, wins the XC2 championship. So it's got to be cool to take that risk, take that leap, come across the world, and then see those dreams come true or see those aspirations come true, which is part of the reason why I was so stoked to see Lyndon grab that XC2 title this year. And just putting it all together. And look at Lyndon. I mean, I went through it on the last show when we were talking about his championship. Like his first year, he was kind of hit or miss and all over the place, and then missed a lot of the season because he got stuck in Australia. But even last year, like he was kind of all over the place. And then this year, really tamed it down, settled it in, figured out that 3-hour race, figured out that 3-hour pace, and won a championship. Led the points most of the year, won a bunch of races. So,
Yeah, he goes from racing at 102 mile an hour on a KTM 500, running around the freaking beaches, to riding in tight woods.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously it took a little bit of time to get acclimated. But like Gus, like I don't know if you've ever seen him, but at Works, whenever I was over there working beginning of the year, in the last year, he is the freaking one of the gnarliest dudes on like flat dirt, like on wide open stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, he's freaking sick. So I think that's why he was so good at like Coker. That's why he was, because it's just wide open.
Yep.
I mean, there's some tight spots in the woods, but there's a lot of fields and stuff.
led the overall Coker.
Yeah, freaking. I don't even think he was 18 then. He might have been 17,
Yeah.
leading it overall. But yeah, boys are ripping.
And that's what I was saying. That's kind of what I was getting at is now these guys have a year under their belt, and I think we're only going to see their level improve, especially Gus and Mason and guys like that. So, especially now that that whole Oz Ranch and everything that they're doing up there, all the different things that they have to ride and all that group of guys that they have to push each other and ride and train with, I think we're only going to see that group get stronger and stronger.
Oh yeah, good bunch. Yeah, they're. I've been over there a couple times in a row. 3 20-minute motos on a fast as shit wood or gnarly motocross track, and just everyone's pushed each other. I mean, there's no slouches, so old Papa Strang's got them all whipped into shape.
Oh yeah, I'm sure Papa Strang's ready to get back out there and show them the fast line around the race course as well.
Yeah, 6 months off bikes, most London first race.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, shout out Lord Tito for my vodka shirt. Where's it at? Look at this.
Lord Tito's.
Hook the boy up. Yeah. I don't even drink vodka.
Shout out.
They drink Busch Light nowadays. That's
There
a
you
lie. I drink water all weekend.
I'm a water guy.
Yeah.
Gatorade.
No alcohol. Dude, I've been trying to do it every time we went somewhere. Tried to drink this weekend. Had 3 or 4 beers. Done.
In Egypt, you drink, you get arrested for life. Throw you in the slammer.
What?
Yeah. No alcohol over there.
I figured they drink that shit out of them damn Sphinx faces.
Nope.
Big old things that are like gold and blue and shit.
Against the religion.
Really?
Yeah, it really is. Like you can't drink over there.
You can't drink alcohol?
No.
Man, Big Tom would have a heart attack over there. Wouldn't he?
Well, cool, man. Thank you. Thank you for taking some time out, coming on the show, doing a weekend review. It's fun chatting. We got all sorts of subjects in there, but yeah, man. Appreciate your time and appreciate you joining me.
Yeah, dude. Anytime.
Let's do some riding this week or sometime.
Well,
I got to change my
you
tires.
got nothing to do. Come see me.
All right.
Come see me.
Sounds good. Well, I guess until next time, man. Appreciate it again. Talk to you later. I don't know what to do now.